Welcome, it's SVPod. Stanford Steve is here. Red is getting a bath, I think.
Again?
I think so, or it's an appointment.
It's beach season. He's got to be ready.
He went to the beach.
And you?
No, I had to work. Fam went down for just a quick check-in. But there's a certain date at the beach. Shout out Bethany Beach. Your dogs aren't allowed on the beach once summer comes, like at any point. And so they took him down, and it was mayhem. He was just in the ocean digging, looking for who knows what. So maybe it was a post-beach tune-up. I don't know.
Sandy red.
There you go.
Red got a lot of sand in there. You got some color, though.
Shout out to Sandy Pony Donuts. Brought some of those
home?
Sure we did.
That was on the list. Don't come back unless.
Fisher's Popcorn, Sandy Pony. Yeah, we had a lot of flag yesterday. Had a doubleheader flag star football. Little spring season. NIL season, portal season.
2 different teams?
Yeah, of course.
All right.
Doubleheader.
Will they ever be on the same team?
No.
Is that better?
Yeah.
More time at the field.
Just sure. Especially, although we had a wind front, Steve. It was 85 on Saturday, and then I went out in shorts Sunday. My wife's like, put a coat on. Like, coat? It was cold.
I had a 3:40 p.m. Sunday soccer game. Got out, I didn't even think about it. I was watching
of course you did.
The golf, and the Mets blow a 6-run lead. And I'm like, oh, boy, this is going to be bad. But we survived.
There you go.
3:40 Sunday afternoon soccer. What are we doing?
Let's plan.
Come on.
Let's get our plans
Good Lord.
lined up. I have so much on the card. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Quite a weekend.
You had everything.
Truly. Truly. There are draft conversations to be had, certainly. There are playoff conversations, obviously. Then there's the conversation that really took over the internet over the weekend, 100 men versus a gorilla.
What was that?
If you had 100 men that were dedicated to the fight, could they beat a gorilla? We're into our summer season content very early this year. I have a different twist on that.
Okay.
And I want everyone to really ponder. Because there's first few dudes that are going to just get mopped by the gorilla. So the commitment of the group is really going to be challenged. We'll get to that. I want to start with the playoffs.
Which one?
Recency bias would have us start in Edmonton.
Let's
just start with that, because we've covered the fact that the two of us collectively have never skated. It's not a sport we know anything about, at least from a competitive standpoint. Every year I say the same thing. And this year's first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs has been mayhem in all directions. Shout out to our guys. Shout out to Biz, who are just, his ratio of things said that make me laugh is among the highest of anyone.
And Whitney.
But Biz is on the set there
Sure,
is in a little bit more constrained fashion. No tie, but a blazer.
Yep.
He was apoplectic last night in between overtime and Edmonton winning, just like the Kings had it. And it's 3-1, they take their foot off the gas, and that's the wrong team to take your foot off the gas against. They tie it, and all I know is this, and I said it to you when you sat down before we started rolling tape. Draisaitl and McDavid on the ice together, it looks different than any other. Doesn't look like a sport that the others are playing. They get to places on the ice, others don't. They run shit, others don't, because they have these clear lanes. McDavid's like a shapeshifter, a changeling, something. I don't even understand what I'm watching. He's so fast with the puck. And Draisaitl, people talk about an alpha and then a whatever, or a Batman and a Robin. If Draisaitl's your Robin, well, you're cooking, buddy. And they got more than that, obviously. But just watching the mayhem unfold in that particular series, it's now 2-2. Our whole text thread, it seemed like, was up. East Coasters are just wired different. We got to stay up until 1 o'clock. So be it.
I think it was just 3 of us.
Was it?
Yeah.
Me, you, and Sands?
Yeah.
Where was Tall Tom? He wasn't in on it?
He was at the bar.
He's at least in the Pacific
He's
time zone.
He's got to do the register, and Sunday night got to close out the week.
Know what you're doing?
We said how much we had this weekend, and I'm literally just in a frenzy with the clicker, and now we're getting towards nighttime. We got showers and cleaning up the kitchen. Caps are rolling. We're good there. And I literally walked down through doing the garbage, and I'm like, oh, we got Oilers Kings tonight. I'm like, perfect. That's what I wanted to end the weekend. 2 Eastern Conference games in the NBA to end the night. That was weird.
That was weird.
And the Oilers are absolute must-watch. You touched on Draisaitl and McDavid. It's like, I don't even say Batman and Robin. I think it's like 2 Tasmanian devils on the ice. Like, as soon as you are watching, you know where they are on the ice. And I saw Bucci tweeting out some numbers about their power play, and that's what gets to me. As an outsider, as a guy that's never put on ice skates, I can't get over how easy they make it look. And I think he said the power plays are up towards, or the Oilers are like 30%, which growing up watching hockey and seeing power play, and you just heard about the teams that were terrible on the power play, because every team knows, or fan knows, when your team's not scoring on the power play, you're in trouble. But like 30% seems astronomical. And this is the 3rd time they've made up multiple goal deficits in the series, and we're at Game 5 in the next game.
Yeah,
that's insane.
They've only played four games thus far, and they're down 3-1. Cannot afford to lose this game and have it go back to L.A. Fiala, by the way, hits the post there late. That comes in on a not a breakaway, but he's got a chance, and he hits the post, and you could see him on the bench, and he's this ridiculously handsome dude, and they got a close-up, and you see him shake his head. Yeah. You can just see him say to the guy next to him, fuck, man. He knew. Like, you better kill him. Yeah. You better kill him, because the one goal gets erased, and then, to the point you're making, power play in overtime, and then in seconds, it's on Draisaitl's tape, and then it's in the net.
And how fast they are on the ice. God. But then to be able to slow it down, like it makes, you start seeing it. And it happened, and you could start looking ahead, because they are going so slow, and it's so meticulous, because they are so good. And the accuracy of passing is still something I'll never be able to get over.
Again, because they're on ice skates.
Correct. And they have a stick.
Right.
And every time you see them in the locker room, they're retaping the stick. Like, how much tape did we go through?
Lots of tape.
Tape to tape. Shots on net, pucks on goal, whatever it is.
Cycle the puck, Steve.
They are incredible, and it was and it got to that point all the time. Underneath 4 minutes, you start wondering, are we going to get another overtime? Are we going to get to see Biz and the guys in the studio?
We did
talk about another, and I don't know, it was 1 and change.
Biz was so pissed at the Kings, just like, how do you take your foot off the gas? And now you're just going to go, okay, now we're going to be aggressive again?
Yeah, it's got everything.
Oh, it does. And as great as that series is.
All of them are 2-2, right?
What? In the
West.
Oh, in the West. I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
Well, as fun as that is to watch, as undeniable as Edmonton and LA, by the way, they've played quite a role in this series as well. As great as that is, it's not the best story from the Stanley Cup playoffs of the weekend. That happened in the West the night before. Landy.
Oh.
Skogger. We want him to be Skogger. He's obviously Landy. Everyone calls him Landy.
I need Bucci's help on that. He's the king of the nicknames.
Landy's the guys that. Well, again, outsiders to hockey, we just get a kick out of everyone. Just throw an ER on the end of a name or a Y on the end of a name, and you got Skogger. I think's a good one, but everyone calls him Landy. Gabe Landeskog, the captain. The story well documented. Over 1,000 games away. And apparently is just an absolute prince of a human who has the respect of not just his group, but the league. And he scores a goal. By the way, Dallas, they entered just down a couple of their best players. They lost the last 7 games of the regular season. They've led, after 3 games, they led for a minute and were ahead 2-1 in the series. 1 minute leading. And they had a series lead. Avalanche shut them out on Saturday night, but Landeskog scoring that goal was just an incredible scene. They reacted not to the third goal in the second period of the fourth game of a first-round series. They reacted like our captain, whose knee was wrecked and has been away for 3 fucking years, just scored, and we're going to get to him. And it was just, I know you and I are both we're wired the same way here. That moves me in a really profound way.
I started bawling my eyes out when you talked about it.
A smile.
You keep saying it, but it's true. We have no clue about anything in hockey. We would just love it and watch it, especially in the playoffs. And there's just a genuineness to it. You hang around hockey guys, you see what they go through, the equipment. It's just different. I've never had anything to do with it. But that story, like the guy, he did the pregame with Biz. Biz held up the jersey. I think you're going to get one tonight.
He said it.
And sure enough, he does. The guy had to keep explaining for 3 years to his kids that he does play hockey.
Because his kids are like 4 and 5.
It's unbelievable.
And they were 1 and 2 when he stopped playing because of the injury. Had to have his knee replaced, a cartilage and ligament, I think, from a cadaver. And he said, I don't think my kids believe that Daddy actually plays hockey.
It's unbelievable. And to see that was really, really cool.
And I'm sure Dallas, even Dallas fans, as much as you don't want to acknowledge because you want to win the series and everyone gets that, that's a stick tap from the entire league.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it. I mean, we were on following their game 3. We followed a couple of overtime games. Thanks for that, boys, last week. But my thing was, I'd love to get him as our guest if they win, no matter if he's the goal scorer or not in overtime. As it turned out, it was Dallas twice. But that whole series is sort of seen through this lens of he's not just a guy. Like, you got to see on your sweater, what does that represent? Again, in that sport, to two guys that don't get it but admire it, what people are willing to go through just to be able to try to play a shift. People get hit with pucks going 100 miles an hour. Stitch me up. I'm back out there. Mm-hmm. I was watching the Wild and Golden Knights. Stoner takes a stick to the eye, leaking everywhere. Just head in the back, staple gun. He's back out there. Those people blow my mind.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. It's
blow my mind.
Everybody talks about in sport, right? Playing with a sense of urgency. Right. Oh. And this now it's like the foot is on the gas and it's not coming off. Turn on any hockey game.
No breaks.
It's unbelievable, man.
No breaks.
It's awesome. But yeah, I was thinking too, Colorado, where did they come from? Was that the original Winnipeg? Didn't Winnipeg lose their team?
But they're the Quebec Nordiques?
I thought that was Atlanta.
I get
Atlanta Thrashers. Anyway. Colorado's always been relevant. It feels like since they've gotten that team, that's a pretty good fan base to be in. It seems like they're always relevant. They're always in it. They always have star players. Go back when they got Borg from the Bruins way back when and Patrick Waugh, the whole thing.
Quebec.
All right. There you go. The Nordiques.
A lot of hockey knowledge here.
Oh, they had the old.
Yeah, it looked like an igloo, but it was a cube.
I thought it was the shape of their territory, province. What are they?
Steve versus Canadian geography.
Oh, that's a war.
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, that thing.
Right. What is that? We're looking at the thing. I said it was an igloo. That's not the shape of the. It's not the shape of the.
Who's that mustache?
That's Freddie Mercury. I didn't know that he played for Quebec.
All right. Anyway, we're getting to visuals.
Yeah, we are.
Can't do.
People at home aren't seeing what we're seeing.
Yeah, but the Lanch is a pretty spoiled fan base. It seems like they're always good.
Well, and they got the Nuggets as well. So they're one of those. I always love when I always think New York when the Rangers and the Knicks are going and the Garden's got it cooking nightly through May and June. They get it going, man. Well, Denver's got it like that at the moment. Stay on the ice just since we started down this road.
Caps, dude. Come on.
Not for nothing. 2-1 down, third period on the road. 1, 2, 3.
In Canada.
And that building, I saw PFT talking with Big Cat about going up there. Obviously, our guy Patrick from Pardon My Take PDF is a big Caps guy. Went up into the belly of the beast up there in Montreal. Said it was the loudest place he'd ever been. Then it got quiet. Got quiet. 1, 2, 3. And the last one from Handsome Tom, just to put a bow on the evening, which by the way sent that game over. Tough one if you had the low and that.
Yeah, thanks for that parlay that somebody sent out on the thread. Loser.
That was a big time. That was a big time win from the Caps. Montreal had the lead and the building, and then it's one hit from Wilson. It looked like a runaway freight train, and immediately the Caps scored the equalizer, and then I believe it was Mangiapane got the third, and then 2 empty netters late. So they come home with a chance to end that series. That third 20 minutes was significant from the Caps. Rock the red.
There in that building, as you pointed out, and the Caps were the most fascinating team to me coming in the Eastern Conference. You know, you talk about all the points in the start to the season they had, and then you have the Ovi deal. But I just wonder, and that's why you can't question these guys, how much they had in the tank. Because you had Montreal playing playoff hockey for 2.5, 3 weeks, whereas the Caps are just along for this ride, trying to get Ovi his deal done. And I just wondered, what is this going to look? Because, you know, like I said, I'm not really paying attention, but that was one because it's here and we're here. The Caps he's scoring, but they're not winning a lot of games. The goalie play is not great. And then when they are fortunate to win game one, and I just kept saying to myself, they cannot lose the lead in this series. They cannot, because then you start getting in that swirl, and you never know what happens with momentum in hockey. And the Canadians are younger. St. Louis, the coach, as good of a guy as you can hear be talked about. But last night was enormous. You mentioned it, 2-1. That hit, I mean, good God, you said one hit. It felt like 100 the way my man hit the ice. But
it takes a lot to get like an audible, like jump out of your seat reaction. But I literally was like, I'm thinking, he's going to be off the ice. And I mean, again, he's one of those dudes that people have a certain way of viewing him. And by that, I mean, if you root for Washington, you love him and the rest of the league hates him. And he's got a rep. So he's earned his rep. But that was either a dirty hit and he should have been ejected, or, like, again, I keep quoting Biz, like, if you're calling that a penalty, stop watching effing playoff hockey. You don't know what you're talking about. But it immediately turned into a goal that tied the game, and it felt like, whether you believe in momentum or not, suddenly Uncle Mo, shout out Keith Jackson, felt like it was on the side of Washington. Then, again, they get the lead and then a couple of empty netters. And now they come home again. That's Wednesday. They got a chance to close that one out. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to do every series here, but that the Edmonton game late was bananas. The Landeskog goal, incredible. We got Maurice and Coop chirping each other in that series.
That's got to be tonight, right?
Panthers Lightning.
Yeah.
Sports Center to follow something tonight. What do we follow tonight? Like, whatever it is, it's guaranteed to be in overtime.
Oh, Dallas again. Oh,
yeah, we're
Skogger.
Shout out to Skogger. Let's sign up for 60 tonight, boys, shall we? We don't need to go deep into overtime. But the Coop, Maurice, these are a couple guys. The Cup is largely trafficked through the state of Florida lately, and so I like that.
I love it.
I love both those coaches. Had a chance during their runs to have them on with us on Sports Center. Every year I say the same thing. I love hockey, guys.
Yeah.
The friggin' best. The whole sport. And again, two of us combined, never been side by each on the ice. However, floor hockey, I will top shelf you. I will roof it. I have.
You got a lift?
Oh,
got it?
Yeah. One of the top wristers out there. You don't know.
Top wristers.
I'm one of the, Snipe. Sir Snipe, they used to call me.
Wow. I gotta challenge that one.
No, all right. Exactly. This is the kind of thing you can't really, you're not going to ever have to prove it. I was always like, there was a kid in your school where I was always talking about being like a great skier. Because it wasn't like you're ever going to have to challenge him to take on the moguls.
They're on the slopes now. No one takes.
I don't know. I remember I have to put my wrist shot on display for the big man. Is there anything else on the ice that we've got that you want to discuss before we pivot? Didn't know we were going to start with a half hour of hockey.
Sorry.
No, I'm not sorry.
What I'm watching.
That's right. How about you're an LA sports fan this week? You got the Kings that lose a 2-goal lead in the last period. Maybe you're a Clipper fan. I think that dunk was before they finally got an eye in the sky where you could see, because it was as close to being on Gordon's fingertips as it possibly could. But then there was finally like one view from the top, this Hawkeye technology, I guess, where you could see it was off the fingertips. But that's after you erased a 20-point deficit in the fourth quarter. Looked like you're going to grab control of the series. No. Or you're a Laker fan and you're a couple of coin flip games late Friday and Sunday and you lose them both. You come home down 3-1. Not a great sports weekend for the LA scene.
No, but a great time for the overhead camera. If you notice that, I mean, I felt like the next day we get it on the Gordon hands off the ball through the hoop with the light on, and then the LeBron foul.
And we got it late.
Late as you could get.
But I don't care when we get it, just to know that it exists. And we've said this consistently. I think everybody listening probably is in the same camp. If we have the technology to get the calls right, let's use it and get them right. Correct? Okay. Well, so they used it. And I'm looking to see who's it off. And then I'm thinking, well, it's clearly off Minnesota. What are we even looking at? And then you see from above, there's that. I will say that it gets, when we review, and you've said this consistently for years when it comes to pass interference, you want to slow it down to frame Zapruder film, you're going to see a lot. Don't love that part of it, but it did reveal a pretty clear hand-on-hand, and that, by rule, is a foul.
But a hand's part of the ball. That's what LeBron said.
That also has been a universally accepted thing forever. It sent Ant to the line, 2 free throws, up 3, significant to some. Reeves got a clean look, misses, and now...
He had a couple in the fourth, too.
Yeah, he missed 2 in a row, but I give him credit. He fired a third and hit it.
Yeah.
I said before the series started, talking to Windhorst, that there's a chance when this is done that we'll say the biggest star in this series was Anthony Edwards. He was unstoppable in the fourth. Unstoppable. Again, what do you have, 43? The bad man. And he's wired for it, man. He's got that right attitude of just enough respect, but enough, I'm going to kill all you mother. He's got that too. And Redick pushed all his chips in the middle and was like, I'm just going to play my guys.
Yeah.
And they all, LeBron and Luka played 46 minutes. Starters didn't come off the floor for a second in the second half. And that's the gambit. You push them all in the middle and you don't get that on the flop or whatever the fuck they call it in poker. You get beat on the turn, on the
river.
Something. They lost is what I'm saying. Now you come home, you're down 3-1, and you're probably some pretty tired dudes.
Lakers by $1 billion in this game coming up. Just take it.
Yeah, it feels fairly predictable.
But Ant is on the cusp of as an impressive win. We want to talk about stars, and we want to give the shine to everybody. This Lakers train, since they got Luka, has been rolling. I mean, you've heard every expectation thing to the sun. And here comes little old Minnesota, and I talked about last week, just the trades that they have made. And then you still have your guy to try and work around it and give him the pieces, right? And then he does that. And his bravado, I thought they did a really good job, too, of letting Dante handle the ball sometimes, too, to give him a break because he is so high in the usage. But, Scott, biggest part of the game, he's going by 4 guys. And you know he has the ball in his hands, and he still does it. and then he makes threes, and he led the league in threes. I
say that again because I don't think people know that he led the league,
led the NBA in 3-pointers made.
Look it up.
And we just talked about the Oilers and all that in that fan base. Minnesota, that fan base, that building is always great, and you're right there. You're right there. And last year, obviously, you were super close, but this feels like it's got some sustain to it,
Well, if you go through Luka and LeBron in a first-round series, you're letting people know that you're backing up last year's run with another. And while we're at it, Ant is the guy. He's the guy you're going to put on the poster.
Mm-hmm.
You put on the front of your season tickets and all that. But the thing about that team, push comes to shove, Naz Reid takes and makes every big-time shot. And he's one of those modern dudes. How tall is Naz Reid? 6'10"?
11, yeah.
He's out there shooting 25-footers. What is he listed at? 6'9". But
plays bigger.
I agree, and takes and makes big-time shots. How about Jaden?
Oh.
McDaniels, we had him on the other night, and it was just so great. We had just finished hearing Miss Lisa Salters talking to Ant, and Ant talked about how Tom Crean texted him and reminded him to play with joy and to smile when you're playing, and you felt that, you heard it, you saw it, and then here's Jaden. Zoom in on him.
You weren't breaking him.
Reminded me of back in the day, the great Rakim on Soul Train, and Don Cornelius said, "You seem like a very serious young man," and Rakim said, "I ain't no joke." And I'm like, okay. Jaden felt like Rakim on Soul Train back in the day. He was not here for my bullshit. Wasn't here for the smiles and the laughs. And I said, look, I hope that you're feeling the joy that you should have after a playoff career high in 30. And he's all about business. And he's like, Perk was on me, which is funny. He said, this guy's grown. I'm not talking about his game's grown. He's physically grown like several inches since he's been in the league. And he'll take on the challenge of guarding your best player, and then scored 30. That was on a Friday night. Like what I'm getting at here is that Minnesota's not just Ant and the Supremes.
No,
it's not backup singers. It's an awfully impressive team. And they've been able to dominate the Lakers in the paint because, I mean, Jaden said straight up, look, we feel like they don't have any rim protectors, so we're just going to go to the bucket. Okay. Minnesota's going to win that series. We said it last week. They won that first one. It didn't feel like a one-off. I mean, I'm not exactly out on a limb predicting a 3-1 lead is going to equal a series win. You wouldn't want to have to put all your eggs in the basket for a Game 6 win at home, but you can presume LA will defend home floor.
Yeah, I would think that's going to happen. I just said Ant was on the cusp of it. You got to do it. Close the door. You did all the hard work. Probably not going to happen in LA, but just going back to those guys. And it was, we talked about the run Minnesota made last year, and I've just always really appreciated Naz Reid. Doris kept pointing out what he was doing on the perimeter, defending yesterday, which, you said one of these guys that's a long and a big, but he shoots threes.
It's the modern NBA.
But he also can move his ass off. And, Jaden defending Luka and with his length, and then him going back to, we know what they have and we know what we have.
Yeah,
we're going.
And by the way,
the boards.
Shout to Finch, Coach Finch.
Finchy.
Yeah, Finchy's out there. I mean, I've been impressed with what JJ's done throughout the year. Yesterday was just my 5 is on the floor, and they're going to stay out there. And you come up 3 short, and now you're going to have to win 3 straight games. They could, but it feels like Minnesota's going to win that series now.
Ant's also the king of review that, or he never fouls anyone.
Well, no one in the league has ever fouled anyone.
And when he did that, I'm like, oh boy, we're going to do this. And you saw Finchy look back to the bench, and in case you don't know, they have their own video people now behind the bench that can see the replay right away. And Pitcher reviews it, and the whole game turns. I also cannot believe they didn't call a foul on McDaniels when Luka got tripped and they had to waste a timeout. And the Lakers
I agree with that.
Didn't have a timeout. In an NBA game, it's amazing you don't have a timeout left. How many you get?
They stepped on his foot. But
Luka falling, it's
a lot of times it is.
You know?
You see Luka, Dante DiVincenzo called the referee a bitch twice, and Luka's giving him a look. Like, that was actually, I don't love Luka but his face was like, he's going, he didn't say it, but the thought bubble over his head, like, you gonna call that? You're really not gonna, he called you a bitch twice, right? Like, you could see that reaction. Somehow that didn't get called either. That was Friday night, I believe.
Yeah.
But those two games were awesome. High level, deep end of the pool stuff. And this is a first round series.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Clippers and the Nuggets. I mean, I'm still pissed at the Nuggets because I like Michael Malone. Obviously, that thing got sideways, and they decided to do what they decided to do. And they're flawed, but they've still got Jokic. And now it becomes you got 2 of the 3 at home, and you got to win 2 of the 3 somehow.
Mm-hmm.
I have no read on what's going to happen in that series. No feeling at all. None.
Yeah, it's hard not to overreact, but again, you pointed out, blow a 20-point lead at home, brand new building. Just every year when the Clippers are in the playoffs, I'm like, are they ever going to get there? My whole life, they've been just a doormat, and now you have Hall of Famers on your team.
Yep.
And then that happens Saturday. It's tough. I still think they have more than Denver, but
I do too.
They have the best player in the world, and that's why they play the game, Scott.
There you go.
Foul or no foul? Pistons.
That was the third. Well, we had the Denver. We had what we just talked about, the Clippers endgame scenario. We had the Minnesota-LA drama. And then we had Detroit and New York. There's 3 end-of-the-game scenarios. The officials said it was a foul because it was a foul. You have to call foul if it's foul. Now, there is something to be said for this. I'm curious where you land. Every home plate umpire has a strike zone. It's a moving target. Some will give you the corner. Some going to squeeze you. If an ump's going to squeeze you all day and fastball in the black is not a strike, and it hasn't been innings 1 through 9, if it's the pitch for strike 3 in the 9th and you've squeezed them all day, that's been a ball all day, and that's a ball. What I'm getting at is if you've allowed this to be a very physical, old school, if you will, style of basketball, and you've let stuff go, then the consistency, be consistent. We say that a lot in life.
That's the word.
And so that would have been consistent with the way that game was officiated. And so, letter of the law, according to Hoyle, was that a foul? Yes, it was. Was it a foul for 48 minutes in that game on Sunday? No, a hell of a lot worse went. So I'm asking you, I thought it was a foul. But I also think that yesterday, a lot that was a foul didn't get called. And so all I can do is shrug and say, if I'm Detroit, I get being pissed. Bickerstaff's pissed. I get it. A lot worse was uncalled yesterday as well.
Totally with you. Agree. There's also, I don't know how to explain it. There's also a situation to this, right? And that's where the consistency that everybody wants, I think, gets taken differently. But it's a melee. Like, Cade gets his shot, right? And he misses it. And now you're in a frantic deal. Can the Knicks get the ball back and get fouled? Can the Pistons get one more shot off, down 1?
And by the way, when Brunson got hurt and you had that window, you built the lead. Like Detroit, you have some responsibility in allowing this one to slip away from you. You shouldn't have been in a situation where you were scrambling late. You had a chance to go ahead and grab it. I get that you're new to this stage with this team. They won 14 games a year ago, man. It's already, this year's a win no matter what. But that had to be a win on Sunday before the end game, before it got crazy. Go ahead.
But again, the situation.
Yeah.
Right? End of game. And I always, you go back way farther, but like LeBron with the Heat.
What am I, 100?
No. I'm saying this situation where it was,
I thought you meant me. I'm old. I am, by the way.
Go to the rim.
Yeah.
Go to the rim.
Yes.
Go to the rim.
Attack.
Or you say, I don't know if I'm going to get the call. Because end of game, you're going to get away with stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the tough part about the consistency, especially at in that league, where the guys are absolute creatures and trying to get a shot off at the rim is different than anything you've ever tried to simulate in a pickup game. Watch these people in person. They're unbelievable. And a three-pointer, a double pump, hands up right in front of their bench. That's a tough one, man. And I get it. The consistency people, it's a foul. But being consistent with what went yesterday. And the thing about the league is you do the under 2-minute report, and so that's going to get scrutinized. Let's expand our view here. Let's open our lens up a little wider and look at that game, and you could find a zillion examples both ways. I want to just talk about Cade because I'm guilty of doing something with him that I feel like I did with – I applied the Ben Simmons bit to him. Ben Simmons went to LSU. He was supposed to be the guy. They weren't great, didn't make the tournament. He's been in the league, and now he's whatever he is. Still incredible capacity to play defense, just terrified to shoot the ball. Cade went to Oklahoma State, same kind of deal. Like we made a big deal out of him. He was the number one recruit, but Oklahoma State wasn't some great college team. And I thought, I don't know, man. The big guy, handle the ball, I get it. Goes to Detroit, they're terrible. He'll go to that. He might as well be playing in Belarus. We'll never see this guy again. Well, he's awesome. Cade Cunningham. And how old is Cade? Probably like 23 years old or something. I don't even know. He's 23 years old. Going to be here for a while. He's tremendous and wasn't tremendous all season long. So I'm glad to have been wrong at just dismissing it because I didn't see it in college in a way that I thought I would. Mm-hmm. And then he got stuck in a situation where a lot of guys have kind of become invisible, and he's not, and they're not. A monster uphill climb for them because now they're in this hole, and they're going to look back at this series, presuming the Knicks win, and go, God bless. You know how close we were to winning all these games? Really close. They've had chances in every game. They've been right there. So, I don't know. Cade Cunningham has been taking a giant step this year and is going to be a dude in this league. As this league transitions, and certain guys, although Steph Curry's letting you know, not yet, still right here, there's going to be a new wave of guys, the Ants, the Cades, etc. It was a foul. But Sunday, in that game, it mostly wasn't a foul. Yeah. Again, agree with you on everything on Cade. He's been remarkable. I remember going back with Rosillo about that draft, and that's the draft out of COVID, 2021. He goes 1. Jalen Green goes 2. Mobley, Barnes, Jalen Suggs after he makes a shot against UCLA. Josh Giddey, Kuminga, Franz Wagner, Davion Mitchell. And again, I think you and I sort of agree with this when it comes to a talking point after a guy leaves college, and we always want more. We love college basketball, right?
Yeah.
And to your point about Ben Simmons, if he's that good and your team goes to the tournament and they win, you win
at that level, a guy that's that good should be enough to single-handedly get you to the tournament and have a chance.
And the same thing happened with Cade. We wanted more, and Oklahoma State's been, disappeared basically in college basketball, with all they've had to go through with coaching changes and all that. So I always had this wonder about Cade Cunningham, and there's a difference. There's a different mantra to his game. He's laid back. He's never going too fast. It feels like he has complete body control. There's a slowness where you're like, does he make guys better? Does he get, but and it takes a while to watch him because it's a different way of going about it because he is so ball dependent. But to see him take the steps, and we've talked about it a ton on this about what they were last year and what they are now. I always wondered about their roster. It feels like they had 10 bigs the last couple of years. But yeah, it's part of the process. I as those guys say at that level. But to be that close, and now I think they haven't won a home playoff game in over a decade. That's a tough one because I keep going back and watching online. It pops up with those starting lineups from when they won it in 2004 with Chauncey and Mr. Big Shot and Ben Wallace and Rip. I mean, that was like that NBA. They were the best at that level, and that's since then you've seen the game transition to a more open deal. But yeah, I feel for that fan base because that's all you wanted was see your home team win.
Yeah, but
get back there.
You gotta, yes, but at the same time, you can recognize that like there's journeys that are 3 or 4 laps around the track, and there's some that are just starting. That's just starting, and you got a guy in Cade Cunningham, among others on that group that are going to give you a chance moving forward because he's fantastic.
But with that,
do
you feel like there's a different level of the Western Conference and watching the Eastern Conference games?
I do, because there is. It's every game in the Western Conference feels like, look, Golden State's the 7.
Yeah.
So it's a little different. I mean, as it is, Cleveland's on the verge. It's been easy. They look awesome. Yeah. It's the same thing I said a week ago about the 4-1 seeds in college basketball. Like Oklahoma City, easy. Shame Ja got hurt, but they had a 29-point lead, and then they lost that game, and they lost. Like it's a 4-0, and after they got boat race game 1, they actually were competitive, and your season's over. Cleveland's about to go through. Boston's about to go through. They're up 3-1 on Orlando. So those 3 of the analogy to the 1 seeds in college look the part.
Mm-hmm.
But the back end of the East is the back end of the East, and it doesn't feel like Miami or Orlando. Detroit feels like a threat.
Yeah,
but just the back end doesn't feel like, because it isn't, because you don't have that level of star, and the games just don't feel like semifinal or championships level series. Whereas Houston's kind of in the role Detroit's in, a young group trying to do it. Van Vliet's done it, obviously, already. But the main core, the Şengün, the Green, and the Thompsons, like most of those guys that are playing significant chunks of time for Houston, this is their first bite of the apple. Whereas Golden State's, you look out there and there's like Curry and Draymond, even those are all these guys that certainly aren't that. That trio, coach and those 2 players, is enough to make you feel like they've got a chance, and they've shown you why, figuring out ways to win games.
Yep, veterans, been there. I will say I miss the old Warriors building. That new place is terrible.
Yeah, you lose a little. You lose all of your soul.
All of it.
I started I corrected myself on the fly. You didn't lose a little of your soul. You lost all of it, and you make a bunch of money, and that's cool.
Yeah, the East Bay is real. Coming to the city. You know what you're getting.
Too short in the building.
Yeah.
We're also old, and we just go back to like remembering like Baron Davis just jumping off trampolines and just buffing on people's noggins.
It's just something every night when you watch a Warriors home game, I just think about Oracle. I was there for the Vince Carter dunk contest, which was an all-timer. Warriors playoffs game, saw him win a ring. Twice there, being at the clinching games, and it was that building. It was that better of fans there, and they lost a lot moving. But again, this is way higher than what we are.
Speaking of new buildings, I'm repping a little Commanders gear. I see you're a little hell. We'll get to that. Let's and Washington's very different. Golden State became what they became in a building that they had to say goodbye to.
Yeah,
didn't have to, but they did. The football team here in town needs to get to a new building, which they will. I have just a final sort of thought here about like these series that are entertaining in the West early. How much of your ammo do you have to go through to survive? And then you still got OKC over there just saying, you know what we were all year, right? You see what we just did? I don't know if it even is it going to matter.
I just appreciate how they went about it. And they went out every night.
Ruthless.
Got the 1 seed. What, they won it by 12, 14 games? Like that's to me more of the problem of the league that I think we don't like is who's playing night to night. But OKC went out and did it. They won the conference by double digits, and now they're home resting. And I really appreciate that, and I want them to do well because of how they handled the things.
16 games they won.
There you go.
68-14.
I mean, that's taking care of business on a night-to-night basis. And I want that to be rewarded. And they're going to get the winner of the Clippers in Denver, as we pointed out, which looks like it's going to go 7. So, I don't want to miss shouting out OKC because the way they've handled things has been
it's almost
exactly what I appreciate.
And it's almost like they're operating in a different ecosystem, a different solar system, a different something. You know, you've got this, Minnesota and Los Angeles, Golden State and Houston, Clippers. Oh, these series are incredible. And OKC, they're competing in the same playoffs, but they've already aced the test.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't even know if this is going to matter. It's going to be entertaining.
Credit to them.
Just don't know if it's going to matter. Shall we dive into some NFL?
Please.
I'm starting right here. I'm starting with what I'm repping this. This news comes out Monday morning in Washington, and this is from time to time we'll do stuff that is specific to where I live, also my frame of reference. It's impossible to overstate how big a deal it is for the old heads like me to go back to the footprint of RFK. And there's a movie, it's been 20 years, Fish Story. Big Fish, it's called. Albert Finney, Billy Crudup. There's a million people that are in it that are just, Buscemi's in it, Danny DeVito's in it. Just an incredible film. And the gist of it is this guy that tells these tall tales, but then it turns out that actually there's a lot of truth in the stories that were told. Old heads like me will tell you what RFK was like, and people will roll their eyes and say, yeah, sure. The real Fish Story. What RFK was when it was right, it was real. Ask Troy Aikman about RFK. He'll just roll his eyes and be like, didn't have a lot of grass on the field. They'd paint it. It's fine. But it was hostile, and it made a difference. And it was when that organization was in the middle of winning Super Bowls. Won 3 in a decade, went to 4. And they dusted off some of the old legends on Monday morning. Coach Joe was in the building. Joe Gibbs, Doug Williams, John Riggins. Links to the past to say, Josh Harris, like, we're going to build the best stadium in America. Roger Goodell's there that said them building this dramatically improves the opportunity or possibility of the nation's capital getting a Super Bowl. I don't love that. I mean, Super Bowl should be someplace either warm or indoors so the weather couldn't impact it. But around here, people get excited. Mostly they get excited that they can leave this dump that they've been in and leave behind an era that was wrecked and ruined and destroyed what was a proud and awesome franchise. So going back to that footprint, being able to, and largely it's private money, like 75% of the money is coming from the ownership side. As someone that grew up rooting for the franchise and is wearing the shirt today just to throw my voice and my support behind him, thank you and well done. That's where they should be. And just that overhead shot, looking down at the Capitol, the monument, the mall, and there at the foot of it, there in that space, will be a new stadium. Now, it's 5 years down the road, I'm at that age, Steve, where I'm like, shit, am I going to be here?
Hmm.
But I also know that we'll do that thing where I'll say to you, hey, remember we were so-and-so, what was that? Was that 2 years ago? Like, no, it's 5. COVID was 5 years ago. So there's your sort of reminder that 5 years will go by quickly. But in the fall of 30, assuming everything gets through, and it'll be sticky and ugly because it's the nation's capital. It's a gigantic deal in a way that if you don't live here and you don't know what that place meant to a franchise that wasn't good, it was great. It was the envy of most of the league. It's as big a piece as getting Jaden, as big a piece as getting a new owner. Like, this is a monster emotional thing for people that are old enough to remember. Not nostalgia. Nostalgia to me is something that, like, you remember something that really wasn't a thing. This was a thing. It's big fish is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Outsider guy, new guy, parachuting in here.
I love it.
I think it's absolutely awesome. Woke up this morning, had some rumblings late before I went to bed, saw this was going to happen. I've actually spent some time looking into it. What's it going to take? The money, that's way more than we can ever even imagine. And that seemed like the deciding factor, which was going to be needed. I looked at other places that have done the stadium, how much more of the public's money was this. And then you see Harris ownership is going to be
75% of it,
which is like 2.7 billion, I believe.
With a B.
75% equals to, like, you're talking numbers that are just astronomical. And I remember coming down when I was in 7th grade for a class trip to see the monuments and do DC, and to go up in the Washington Monument and look down, and there it is. You called Giant Stadium, the Meadowlands, a dump. Outsider guy parachuting in, RFK. You watch it on TV. I'm like, what is this place? The bleachers are moving.
Yep.
They have grass. It's painted.
Yep.
Dave Butts has got green paint on his jersey. It's
Butsy.
It feels real. We're going to be here 6 years, and to have an NFL team that was just an atrocity.
Yeah, man.
I came the first year. My roommate from college was a backup quarterback on the Redskins. First year, FedEx Field was here. I'm walking around. I'm like, nothing against FedEx, but like how they have all the different colors in their symbol, and like that's part of the stadium. And you got a green section and a yellow section. I'm like, this is the Redskins, man. Super Bowl team. And I did Sheehan's show last week, and I'm trying to count how many home playoff games did that building host. 4.
Not a lot.
Over 25 years.
It's
like
the kind of thing, it's like a battleship, man. Just sink it and let it be
correct.
gone. Let it never be spoken of again.
They need it gone and get on. And we talked about Uncle Mo with the NBA playoffs. This is Uncle Mo on steroids with what the Commanders have. You talked about the pieces they got, the coaching staff, the quarterback, new ownership. Like, you got to take this thing and go. And trying to comprehend what happens with all rules and regulations as far as getting stadium and all, like, politics that I have
neither do I.
No understanding.
No, that's not our lane.
But they're here and they got it, and it's just awesome. I also saw they're not going to move the practice facility. That's going to stay in Ashburn. Great. Anything to keep this thing going and make it as fast as possible. Yes, I was part of being at Stanford. We had a 90,000-seat stadium, hosted a Super Bowl, Niners and Dolphins. And the whole time we were there, they're going to rip the track out. We're going to condense it down. And as a player, you're like, I don't know. When's it going to happen? Oh, it's like a 6-year deal. And you're like, well, that's not going to help us. So there's
Sure.
there's different viewpoints of all this stuff, but to finally see it, and then Stanford does it in a year, and it's awesome, even though no one goes to games. But for the Commanders to take this step, but for the Commanders to take this step this fast, and knowing all the stuff behind the scenes that had to be done at this time, it feels real. And like I said, outsider guy. Growing up, watching those games at RFK on TV, no one won there when it came down to it. And to get that back and the lack of success in that FedEx Field deal was just brutal. And to have this is awesome. I really you feel the excitement.
It's a surgery to remove like a tumor. And like I said, the battle, whatever it is, however you want to put it, that place, you know that you're leaving and you're going, but you're not just leaving. You're going back to a place. And it's a place that's like a state of mind. And again, you have to be of a certain age. And at this point, you're older. But to the younger folks, you're in your 20s, your 30s, hell, even your 40s. Like you didn't get to experience it.
Quarter century.
But just trust the old heads that tell you that get that faraway look in their eye and talk about what it was. And it wouldn't feel as optimistic if it weren't for the fact that you've got Josh Harris in the ownership group. You've got an Adam Peters in the GM chair. You've got Jaden wearing number 5. Most importantly, I mean, momentum that people say it's not a real thing. Well, whatever you want to call what Washington's got right now. They just made the NFC Championship game for the first time in 30 years, and now you're announcing you're going back to this place. It's RFK. It was a dump, but it was a monument too, man. Right there with the monuments of this city and the places that had just incredible moments in the history of Washington and the surrounding areas. Greatest unifying factor I've ever seen in the mosaic of what Washington, D.C. is. Socioeconomic, race, religion. The religion was the Redskins, you know? I've said this for years, you know, to Tacoma Park Baptist Church when my grandma sang in the choir. You know, if it was a 1 o'clock game, like, let's make sure we get our message home, Reverend. Because it takes about 11 minutes to get from here to my grandparents' place in Northwest. All right, we're kicking with the Giants at 1. Let's go. Shout out to the big man upstairs. Let's pass the plate and we'll get home. They were the religion. And RFK was the church or the synagogue or whatever you want to call it, man. It was a incredible, significant place here. So that's why you're going to hear old-timers talk about it that way.
Sam's in 3rd grade?
Yep.
He'll be on the cusp of high school.
I know it. I thought about it, like looking through their lens.
Man.
I might have lost him to Florida with the championship, but I think the Jaguars fandom is on shaky ground here because, you know, might have actually been smart and acquired some tickets now, which I presume means that we'll have an on-ramp for the new spot because they're going to have those licenses and all that stuff in the next joint. We'll figure that out down the road. Anyway.
We got to get legs on the blower.
Hey, that's right. Legs, Captain Commander Legler. I'm sure he's excited.
You know you did your notes upside down again.
Yeah, no, I did it. It's fine. Like I can hold it like that so that for the folks watching on YouTube, the card's right, but then my notes are upside down and they're hieroglyphics. Draft, baby, huh? Draft grades. B-. Here's what I can tell you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what I can't tell you. I don't have a clue about guards and how they project.
Not point guards.
Your guy from Bama that went to Dallas.
Tyler Booker.
He seems like a real one.
Oh, he's great.
I don't know how that's going to go. I can't evaluate that. I do look at things through the eyes of, shout out to our fantasy group, the Mother's Day mock is coming. I like what Cleveland did at the running back position. You get Judkins and you get Dylan Sampson from Tennessee, both of them. You're talking about 2,500 yards worth of rushing at Ohio State and Tennessee. With the Nick Chubb era, they're moving in a different direction there. You get a couple of guys that if that becomes just your by committee right there, that's pretty exciting. I look at Chicago. You bring in a prolific offensive mind that we saw with all those trick plays, and now Ben Johnson becomes the head coach in Chicago. They used to like to run a lot of stuff for Laporta, right? You go out and you get Loveland.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get a guy in Luther Burden that was clearly a first-round talent at wide receiver that slipped into the second round. Plug him in to a Caleb Williams, your number 1 overall pick from a year ago. I don't know if Manon guys, he was like a late pick from Rutgers, but I saw him play a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I realize I'm so guilty of viewing the draft through a lens of guys I watched play in college and fantasy football because I'm not able to do much analysis from the interior lineman position. I know the guys that Atlanta drafted, the rush guys, like that helps. They needed it, but I'm not great at analyzing that, and I'm not going to do draft grades. So I just was jotting down a bunch of people that I thought, oh, maybe I'll draft them. And I hate that I'm that guy now. But that's kind of how I end up assessing drafts. That, and we talked on draft night about the Giants taking Jackson Dart. Who'd they take number 3 overall?
Abdul Carter.
You put him on that defense with what they've got? We did a really poor job of acknowledging a guy like Abdul Carter because of a quarterback, and we did a really bad job of acknowledging the number 1 pick, Cam Ward, because of the trade that happened with Travis Hunter at number 2, and then the fact that Shedeur then didn't get picked, that somehow the number 1 overall pick became like an afterthought. I called us out that night on the air, like, dude went number 1, man. And it's the story we love. He was a 0-star recruit, transferred from Incarnate Word to Washington State to Miami, and goes number 1 without any clue. I mean, any uncertainty. That was their guy. Supposedly the Giants came with a king's ransom, and Tennessee was like, nope, can't help you. That should be celebrated.
Yes.
Let's celebrate Cam Ward.
Cam Ward. I just want to keep saying his name because no one said it for 3 days.
Yeah.
That's the story. 0 stars in this transfer portal world. Goes to Wazoo. I bet him to win the Heisman his first year at Wazoo. Did a thing at the college football meetings. They're like, who? I'm like, Cam Ward. Incarnate Word. Going to Wazoo. Good system. Bringing his offense coordinator. Kid's got talent. And he showed out, but he got better at every place.
Yep.
And
those are the stories we love to celebrate.
Yeah.
We celebrate those stories. And if you heard Louis Riddick when he was on SportsCenter with me, he said, this dude is serious as a heart attack, all about his craft. He is just in it. That's what he's about. And he goes to a place that's starving for a guy to be that guy. And then it became this side story. And frankly, it didn't even become a side story because Hunter got moved up to be drafted by Jacksonville. And then everything became about Sanders not getting picked. We'll get to that. But Cam Ward.
Awesome.
Go get him.
And I look at Callahan as a coach. He was the guy then at the Bengals when they brought Joe Burrow in. He's done this. Super excited they're getting a new stadium too, Tennessee. Just really cool. We've talked about how they should just go back to the Oilers uniforms, but there's, I would guess, politics involved with that one. Same thing with the Buccaneers.
Or Houston should punt on Texans, buy the Oilers back, and wear it. It's a crime that those uniforms aren't being worn every Sunday somewhere.
So good,
right?
Yeah, I would never think baby blue, red, and white
with the oil derrick,
so
clean
good.
On the white helmet.
So good. Ernest Givens,
come on, what's up? Oh, by the way, shout out Warren Moon for saying, hey, you can wear a number 1.
Yeah, and as we're talking about Abdul Carter, slow down, man.
Oh, yeah.
Slow down.
56 is a very, very...
I mean...
There's reverence for that jersey. And I don't love that team, and I certainly don't love the stadium they played in, but my God, 56 is off limits.
Yeesh. Just slow down, man. Do your own thing.
We're 11.
Whatever.
He's awesome, by the way.
You're not wearing 56. I'm sorry. No, but I think we have to go to the deal of Cleveland. You mentioned what they did.
Just one sec.
Air it out. Come on.
Well, just Philadelphia first 5 picks, all defense. They got another dog.
Yep.
Baltimore's streak of every pick they make, I just go, yep, you called it. You weren't looking on the internet for who tipped it. You're like Malachi Starks. And they did it. Then they took the guy Green out of Marshall.
Yeah.
That there are questions about.
Yep.
Getting a good organization like that doesn't suffer the BS and gives you structure and gives you guidance. That's a great place for that guy to land. But Baltimore's run of them taking a guy that every single time you just go, uh-huh.
And they just walk in and start. You know? You put him next to Hamilton? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I want to say he led Georgia in snaps as a true freshman on the defensive side in the midst of winning national championships. I think he knows how to play football.
How about the Kirby Smart stat?
Oh.
If you don't know, let us share with you that in his time at Georgia, he has lost 19 games and had 20 first-round draft picks.
More first-rounders than losses.
See what we're doing there? More dogs selected in the first round than games lost.
In that conference.
Aggression! That's something else. Yeah. All right, so the Cleveland piece.
Yeah. What I find mesmerizing is our guy McShay went to the Ringer, started a podcast. He's doing his thing. Love him. Love what he's done. His draft work is, I'll put it up there with anybody.
I believe he said he put out a 2.5-hour recap, so just going to.
At Russillo's house.
I saw that. They were in Manhattan Beach at the Russillo Estates, and they just set up.
First question they took from viewers, what's the deal with Russillo's shorts? And, of course, Russillo nails it. He's like, I'm at home. I'm on my couch. Do you know how hard it is to look good sitting down on a couch?
Not easy.
No. So, anyway, go check that out. But going back, out of the combine, Todd's podcast he does, and he starts it with, hey, teams reached out to me and said, Shedeur basically threw away the interviews, the time with these teams. He didn't think much of what we thought of him. And I that just stuck with me because I listened to it, but nowhere else was anybody reporting this. No one. I mean, we have news. We just hired another Schrager news guy, Schefter, NFL Network people, the whole thing. No one was going with this story. And if teams are reaching out saying this, I mean, the NFL news information deal is a daily thing in our world now, right?
Uh-huh.
And no one else was talking. And I just kept thinking about this as the process is going on. And then I started thinking, I was like, maybe they were asking him, what would it be? How would you handle not being the guy?
Mm-hmm.
You know? And so you hear about he just, threw away the interviews, didn't want to partake, didn't have value in what teams were talking to him about. And you just start thinking there's 32 teams, right? And then you think about the one-off that was last year and how many quarterbacks went early, right?
Right.
So this pool is minimized of teams that are going to take quarterbacks in this draft.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see the team that takes them, Cleveland, that passes over them, I don't know, 6 times.
Well, they took a quarterback before him in Dylan Gabriel.
And then they take Dylan Gabriel. And this whole storm of going, like no one thought it was going to happen. Then Field on Thursday night after the first round says, one time in the last 6 years, there's been more than one quarterback taken in the second round. And then you start looking at the slots of contract money about why quarterbacks aren't taken in the second round. So this could be a possibility, but no one thinks it's going to happen. We come on Friday night, second, third round. He's still not taken. It's a story going into the fourth round. And then he goes into fifth round. And in a day and age where social media and news and reporting and all this, that Todd was the one that said this thing about what ended up being a big factor, but no one else did. And then everyone is just blown away that he didn't go. And is there an agenda with the team? No. But I just thought that was there, but people didn't want to listen to it or didn't listen to it or couldn't listen to it.
Schrager went on. I was texting with him throughout the weekend, and he went on, I think, Get Up with Greeny. He was like, he's not going to go in the first round. And Greeny was like apoplectic. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't have him, like, based on what he was hearing. And then the Field point about the second round has not been a place where quarterbacks tend to go for one reason or another. McShay had a little bit more layering and detail about the specific interview as it related to the Giants.
That was after, yeah.
Correct. And that came out on his most recent podcast on The Ringer about from people in the room and not being necessarily, the story goes, like, they've put you on the whiteboard and Dable had questions about it and it didn't go well.
Mm-hmm.
That's just one team. But that was one team that presumably needed a quarterback. And according to Schefter, offered this, that, and the other thing to take the guy that did go number 1, 0-star to number 1 pick, Cam Ward. They needed a quarterback, didn't take him. So McShay had that reporting on what happened. And so it's seen as a slide because, look, there's one person in particular on our network, and that's Mel Kiper, that was he was all in. This is the guy. He's my guy. And then as it went on, and he reached a point where he's literally angry on television. And Louis Riddick said, look, the draft is spoken, and look, we appreciate Mel and love the guy and the passion, but your opinion of this and the league's opinion appear to be different. And then it gets into the why. And that's where I struggle, because if this young man truly just wasn't that interested in the job interview process, well, he wouldn't be the first young man or young woman to maybe have a bigger sense of self than the job interview, where the folks sitting on the other side of the desk from you are like, okay, well, then you're just not for us because you don't seem to value this part of the process, if that's what happened, right? But to have it turn into some suggestion that the league colludes against a family, or that there's some racial agenda against the Sanders family, is where I just am like, hold on. There's just too many things here that a mountain of evidence to the contrary from a league that will take a quarterback. Well, they'll take a player who's accused of or guilty of actual crimes. They'll look the other way if you can help him win games. Hell, the team he was drafted to gave up the most guaranteed money at the time and a pile of number ones for a person who wasn't even playing in the NFL, Deshaun Watson, because he'd been suspended over more than 20 women and the accusations made against him. That's what Cleveland did for a quarterback who was not playing, not allowed to play because of the league saying, no, Cleveland's like, we'll give you all this money and draft picks. That's what the league will do if they think that you can help them win games. So when the league collectively doesn't take a quarterback, one specific quarterback, the idea that it's a targeted lesson to a family, the patriarch of whom is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, I think that's just people have created this expectation that he was going to go early and didn't, and now there's no other explanation. There can't be any role that the young man played in this? No. Could have been that. Could have been that they don't see him as a starter and feel like this is a larger kind of lens that the world's going to look at your backup than they want. A lot of different reasons why it could happen. But when it became just this idea of some sort of targeted lesson to a family because of an involved dad and a son that was entitled, how short are people's memories? Do you not remember Caleb Williams? This guy was called what? A diva. He's living in a penthouse in Los Angeles. He's the Heisman Trophy winner. He's got fancy accessories and painted fingernails and odd things to older people that can't make sense of that. And by the way, has a dad who's his business manager and runs a training camp for basically quarterbacks. That's a dad who's going to be a hell of a lot more involved than Deion Sanders, who's coaching the Colorado. So if the idea is you don't like a dad that's involved in the life of the quarterback, has real specific ideas, a dad that said that he thought his son should have an ownership stake in the team that drafted him, and a quarterback with an outsized, presumptive to the outside world ego, the NFL was so concerned about the Williams family that they drafted him number 1 overall. because they thought he could do it. Now, what was the line that came out of the Caleb Williams interview process? Over the top impressive. That was what came out of how he treated the interview process. So I just watched the tonnage of reaction to this and thought, seemed like people were freaking out in the moment. Maybe as the dust settles, people can look at this through the lens of where McShay got in the end. You got drafted.
Yeah.
By a team that does not have a great quarterback room situation, and you have the opportunity to show that everybody that passed on you missed the boat. You got the opportunity to go be the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. So seize it. Focus on what's required now, which is the work to go earn the job. I just think that ignoring the sort of, I forget the part about the idea that this was it was like singularly racist against a quarterback, the black quarterback or Sanders family. I mean, the last top 2 picks in the last 2 drafts, Young and Stroud, Williams and Daniels, now Cam Ward. Like, there's no the old days of the NFL having an issue with that's long gone, long gone. Take the best player to position. Last 5 number 1, 2, 3 picks and number 2 picks, all quarterbacks happen to be black. That storyline, I think, is gone. What role did Shedeur Sanders' appetite for the process play in this? Don't know. But the reporting indicates that there was some. And so now he has the opportunity that for a couple of days, it was like, man, when's he going to get picked? You and I raved about the guy all season long. All season long. So I was baffled by it. But I'm not in a room in the NFL.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I don't know about that part of it. But I'm rooting for the guy to do it because I thought he was awesome all season long behind an O-line that didn't give him much of a chance.
And that's what I kept going back to, Scott, is when I watch him and you go back and watch the tape. I've talked about how much I think of him as a player. Going back, he had pressure 220 times this year. Pressure in your face, trying to throw a football. The next closest guy in all of Division I was like 130.
My God.
90 more times he had pressure in his face. And he got up every single time. And again, everyone's going to talk about the off the field stuff and, the brand and this and that. But that's what was mesmerizing to me, because when I watch him as a player, I'm like, I want to give him the opportunity. And now he has the opportunity.
Correct.
And then you go to the situation that he's in that you pointed out, not a great quarterback room. Who's his coach? Kevin Stefanski, Tommy Rees. Think the world of those guys. Stefanski, going back to the Vikings days, went to the playoffs, NFC Championship game with Case Keenum.
Yeah.
Not great arm strength. Tough guy. Not overpowerful arm. Coach Kirk Cousins. Then you can say the same thing. Not overly crazy arm strength. And that's what Shedeur is. Shedeur is a tough as nails quarterback. Good arm strength, but he could process. And I just keep going back to this opportunity. Now you're here. What are you going to do with the opportunity? And then you go back a couple of years. Well, was it 10 years ago now? Johnny Manziel had the same deal. Opportunity, a fan base that is starving for success. Had a little taste of the playoffs the last couple of years with Joe Flacco, who's back in the quarterback room. But you have this opportunity in Cleveland, a fan base, a coaching staff. Now it's here. What do you do with it? And that's what I find so interesting, because he's shown he has the goods, and now he has the opportunity.
It's just all the conversation that surrounds it and the whys and like the league has shown you repeatedly they'll take people that have done bad things, either accused of or convicted of, if they think you can help them win games. And the idea that an entire league would pass on a guy that they believe could help them win games to teach a family a lesson. That's the thing I kept reading. Like the league's in the business of trying to win games, not teach a family a lesson. Doesn't make any damn sense. And I saw Bomani Jones was responding to a tweet where someone, the question was asked, when have we ever seen a quarterback with these numbers like slide to such a place in the draft? And Bomani's like, well, it happened on this planet, whatever year it was that Gardner Minshew got drafted. Gardner Minshew won the Unitas, threw for more yards, almost the same exact number of touchdowns, and a 70% completion percentage. So here was a quarterback that won the same award Shedeur won, hung big numbers, and when did he go? In the 6th round of the draft. And oh, by the way, has started for a number of teams in the league. Like, you can roll your eyes and say, well, Gardner Minshew, he's been an NFL starter. You know how hard it is to do that? 32 guys get to do that every year. And a lot of them keep the job year after year. So there aren't many openings on a yearly basis. So I guess that all of this conversation that took up so much bandwidth and had people convinced that it was this or that or the other, what matters now is the opportunity. And if you're going to be in a room where Deshaun Watson has to be at this point, I mean, Jimmy Haslam admitting that they basically swung and missed on that, and the fact that he's injured, I can't imagine that's the guy. Flacco's back, right? And Pickett,
Dylan
Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders. I mean, if you're who you think you are, well, then you get to go into a room where go win the gig. So, I don't know. It was a whole lot of conversation that, I mean, as the dust settles, we move our attention towards OTAs and whatever. And, the amount of attention that the backup will get. This is what happened with Tim Tebow in the end. That teams looked at it and were like, do we want this kind of lens on a backup? Because there's enough attention that we get on our starter, particularly in Cleveland, where you want a starter that can be a starter. As far as the pranker, do you say prank call or crank call?
Oh, wow.
I think it's both, right?
Yeah.
Prank call, crank call. That's loser.
Call,
that's loser behavior. Loser behavior.
And to hear how many times it happened to other guys.
Correct. It happened to
Tyler Warren.
It happened last year to DeJean.
Yep.
So this becomes very scrutinized, and it's just mean-spirited stupidity, right? But then people want guys thrown in jail. Like, it's just a stupid thing that a stupid kid did. You get shamed publicly. Don't do stupid shit. Like, that's the beginning and the end of it, I think. Unless we're going to try to criminally prosecute whoever got Tyler Warren's phone number and Hooper DeJean last year and whoever else. To stop prank/crank calling people. I did that when I was 10.
Did you?
Oh, yeah. I used to think it was hysterical.
Well, you could do different voices and stuff.
You're
bad.
I was terrible. Now, there was no internet. I didn't have a lot to do. I just pick up the phone. Did you? My grandma had the phone with the circular thing.
Yeah.
When we got the push button phones, boy, that was exciting. I was just fire off crank calls. I'd like.
You have total phone?
I don't know what that means.
Where you could have multiple people on phone. We never had it either.
I was just excited to have push button
yeah.
And I'd crank call people. But I was a child. I did stupid shit. 100 people versus a gorilla. 100 focused men fighting a gorilla. You're going to lose the fight. Because the guys that are going to see your friend get their arm ripped off and bleeding out in front of you, the rest of the group's going to lose their focus and motivation. That's my feeling. I don't know that you can find 100 dudes that are willing to sign up for the gorilla fight.
Oh, you could. Easily.
I have a different question.
Yeah.
How many men? I mean, right now there's a picture of a gorilla that's been pulled up. And
the arm length is
the size.
It's not Will Campbell.
No, longer arms than Will Campbell. And this is a jungle beast that lives in the wild and would murder many of the people. I mean, how many? I guess you just need to have a strategy. I guess you need to wrap them up. But then how do you kill it? I don't know. Asphyxiate it?
I love gorillas. I don't want to kill anyone.
Yeah, me either.
But my attack would be, I'd say first attack is 5 guys got to get the legs, but you got to be careful of the arm length. And you go from there.
I want to know how many men would you have to win a fight with Nikola Jokic's brother. That's what I want to know. Because it might be 100. You might need 100 people to win a fight with Nikola Jokic's brother.
The head size.
It's just, anytime I see him, and he just has a very, he has the look of a man that is not to be trifled with.
No. It was funny. I was looking at a clip of Marc Gasol talking about him. He was on Zach Randolph's podcast, and he met him at some wedding overseas. And Mark was like, the brother came up to me. He's like, my brother's in the NBA. You know that? And Mark was like, yeah, oh, okay. And Gasol said they were playing the Nuggets, whatever, the next year. And all of a sudden, this guy is screaming at him from the stands. And he's like, Mark. And he's pointing down the other end. He's like, my brother, Nikola, right there. And Mark said, he's like, I was blacked out, frozen, because I'm looking at this man, and it's taking me a while to resonate where I met him. I know him, but the look of him. And then he's pointing at his brother. He said it came so fast. But he's like, oh, my God, that guy was right. And I met him at a wedding, and he came up to me. Yeah.
He should be the final boss in the next John Wick movie. You have to beat that.
That's a good one.
You have to beat that guy. And it's raining, and Keanu Reeves is just got out of a car, and he's like, I don't want to fight you anymore. But then that guy's standing there, and he's got a suit on, and he's got a suitcase, and there's some weapon in the suitcase that's been the whole reason that the fight has happened throughout this film.
That's how the John Wick film ends, because John Wick doesn't win.
Doesn't?
No.
No one beats
It's him.
Well, right. Well,
come on.
I'm saying, all right, so Hollywood, here's an idea. Get Nikola Jokic's brother. He's the final boss that John Wick has to kill to get whatever's in the suitcase. It's not Marcellus Wallace's soul. It's something else. It's probably the codes to something. But honest to God, look at that man and ask yourself, how many people would it take to beat him in a fight? 100.
I'm not signing up for that one.
Right. No. It's just the head size. Head size is as is the human size. As is the that just doesn't look like he's here for the bullshit. That either. I don't know if he was at a game or if I just saw a picture of him and it made me contemplate this thing. Anyway, him versus John Wick. He wins, by the way, and then he becomes a film franchise.
Yes, the brother.
Yeah.
Let's call it that.
And then you could do like a comedy spinoff with bros, and him and his brother, they just get involved in capers, going all across the Balkans on a boat. But it's lighthearted and it's fun. And they just go to cafes and sip espressos. I got a lot of creative energy cooking right now. Everybody thinks Priscilla's the only writer. Right here. I'm writing scripts.
Whiteboard.
Treatments, whatever they call them. I don't even know if I got to everything on the list. We've been talking for a hell of a long time. Is there anything else? I'm sure there's other things.
Yeah, I got a bunch.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Got to see the Mets win in person Saturday. Nats Park.
Okay.
Shout out to Kyle with the Nats. Rolled out the red carpet.
He's awesome.
Unbelievable.
I'm an Oriole fan. They know that. Although the Orioles now.
What's going on there? Are we going to touch on that? Because
can't score a lot.
Okay. When they were going through the process of building this team, accumulating draft picks, I think what I meant, you tapped out on baseball.
Yep.
Like they were unwatchable.
They won 50 games, man. What am I supposed to do?
I get it.
All right.
I get it. So where are we?
Last place.
Where's the mindset?
Not great.
Okay.
It isn't great.
Yanks coming in tonight.
Went up to Detroit. That's a first place club.
They're good.
Yeah, I understand that, but just didn't
shut out again yesterday.
Pardon me?
You get shut out yesterday?
Yeah, didn't dent the scoreboard.
Yeah.
I was looking for some arms in the offseason.
They're out there.
Well, I don't know. We didn't avail of ourselves of any of those. I mean, Charlie Morton's 40-something.
Old.
That was the direction there. I mean, it's not great. We're not in a great place. I mean, we're about to be in May. Long way to go, but it's kind of a slow and uneven. We're in last place. I don't know what you want me to say. We're in last place.
All right.
Meanwhile, the Mets are in first place. So,
yeah, I just lost 2 or 3 to the Nats.
Yeah, and the one you won was kind of lucky, wasn't it?
No.
Oh no, you lost
2-0.
You lost that game where you got the bases loaded, squib shot down the line.
Easy. Blew a 6-run lead yesterday. That was cute.
You're in first place. Settle down.
No, Nats.
Got some young guys,
like the Orioles were.
Felt like we kind of lost the plot this offseason.
Yeah,
seems like it.
Tough division.
Yeah, you live on in an expensive neighborhood.
Moved left field in again. Judge is going home. Judge is going to hit one. So
that's fine.
No doubt.
That's fine.
Remember that one year they came in and they just kept hitting home runs?
I do remember that, Steve.
He texted Boone.
I did text Boone. I think I just said enough. Enough. And then we went through this period of optimism where it seemed like things were heading in the right direction. And then, again, it's a long season.
Yeah.
Just need to get some guys healthy.
Take care of business against the Yanks.
Just win a game. Start with that. What else you got?
I saw Sinners.
Assess.
Movies are back.
All right.
As creative a movie as I've seen in a long, long time, and I'm not a vampires guy, but now I know how to kill them.
Don't.
So you learn something.
Don't give up the.
But Michael B. Jordan, he plays twin brothers. Like, if that's not an Academy Award, like what? How you top that?
I mean, people have done the. You play two roles, but this is
this is like same scenes, and he fights each other.
Dude,
nuts.
That's CGI, kid.
Oh, okay.
Smoke and Stack. That's the name of the brothers,
right? Incredible. And I'm just, like I said, movies are back. We're this, whatever we were in, people not going to work and COVID and the whole, we're back, man.
Sinners single-handedly brought Hollywood back.
Astounded by it.
All right.
So it was really, really, really good.
And you went by yourself in the middle of the day, right?
Yeah.
Were you the only person in the theater?
No, there was...
I like to say theater.
5 others.
Okay.
Had to go to a Regal Theater, and they only have Diet Pepsi. That was a bummer. I didn't know that. Now I do.
Just sneak in bootleg Diet Coke in your backpack.
I don't have a pocketbook. Bring things into the movies.
Is that Stanford Steve? Yeah, has he got one of those side man purses? Yeah, it's fine. He's got a 2-liter.
Although a lot of guys are using them.
Yeah, but you sneak in a 2-liter.
iPad.
Put a 2-liter in there. You'll be good. Movies are back. I just wrote a script.
Who's in charge in Chapel Hill?
I think everyone knows the answer to that, Steve.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, there had been some chatter about that.
I just found it like waking up yesterday and seeing that interview. That's not.
I'm not real comfortable weighing in on people's how they whatever. That's their business.
No, I'm just saying how different Bill Belichick looks. That's all.
Whoa.
Like a man that was in charge for almost 25 years in New England, you know?
That is a fair assessment.
That's why I can't get over how different he is. That's all I was going.
Well, there's it was a TV show. Who's the boss, right?
Tony Danza.
Well, not anymore.
Yeah.
Apparently. Hey, I just want everyone to be happy.
Yeah.
So there you go.
That's a fan base that I've always said sleeping giant. That you play good football there.
Uh-huh.
A campus.
It is just an interesting juxtaposition, though, for somebody that you figured was just the ultimate final boss. Like, I'll tell you what we're doing.
Yeah.
Sort of okay.
I just dumbfounded how different he is. It's Bill Belichick.
I got nothing.
What'd Rocky say? If I can change, you can change.
That was a different time in cinema.
Yeah. Had this one down. Written from our trip. Proper temperature in your hotel room solo.
I don't set it like it's 60s. There's people that act like it has to be a meat locker. I don't want to be in some strange room freezing to death under a comforter that's probably not great.
Like, what do you mean by not great?
I mean that it's just, it
used.
It's not a good, huh? I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about that as much as I am. I'm like that. What kind of down structure are we dealing with? Probably not. And then I'm wrapped up in a sheet. And first of all, I don't sleep under a sheet. Ever.
Oh,
I'm not.
Do you rip it off?
1,000%. First of all, I'm 6'6". When I get into a bed, it's like I'm like a PETA. So are you. Like I fit in, and then I'm at the top, but then my feet are stuck at the bottom. And the hotels that tuck the sheets in, where it's like 6 feet of tucked in sheet.
You break toes.
I'll rip the mattress up and just pull the whole thing out. But I will not sleep under the sheet. I don't like a sheet against my skin. I like to feel the comforter.
Yeah, but the sheet is not as used as the comforter.
Understand? That's why. So to go back to your upper 60s is fine. Like if it's in, some people like I set it to 62 or 58 or whatever. Like, okay, good for you. You're Yukon Cornelius or whatever the fuck his name is. Is that the guy? That was the guy in Rudolph, right? Yeah, right. So you live where the reindeers live, or so. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying I don't want it to be too cold because the sheet comforter ratio. I got a problem with that.
Okay.
What do you put it at?
As low as it'll go.
Right. You're that guy.
Yes.
Okay. But then
there's nothing worse than being hot when you're trying to sleep.
I agree with that. But there's a difference between just upper 60s is cold enough.
But I don't think it's real.
That's a fair point.
Right?
It could 69 could actually be 73.
Correct.
So you set it to as low as it'll go.
Now I know it's always on.
Yeah, but then you're depending on where you are, you get like that rattle going, like it's making a noise every time it comes on, then it turns off.
Yeah.
Then you start to fall asleep and then it fires up again. And I'm like, fuck it.
Do you go right to it when you check in?
For sure. Of course.
Yeah, right.
Well, no. I walk in and I decide, is it cold or not? If it's not, I fix it. If it's like, I'm fine, then we carry on. What I do is immediately rip the sheet off the bed and rip the thing out of the bottom. Because, again, you get in there, and you're 6'6", and your whole torso is out of the top of the bed. And you can't get your feet at the bottom.
You'll break your toes.
You really will.
I know.
And you jam and you're kicking it, and it's not moving.
It won't move.
So
the good ones?
Yeah. No, I can't.
They could.
They're hotels, they're against the tall man.
Oh, 100%.
I'm sick of this. I'm sick of this very targeted.
I don't think their king-size beds are king-size either.
I don't know about that, but this is targeted aggression against tall people. I won't stand for it.
No?
Nope. I do stand for it. I just go in and I rip the sheet out and keep it moving.
The coldness gets you up, like game day, obviously, we're early mornings. PGA, we're going to be early mornings.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be early.
Yeah.
Hey, we're on ESPN Plus. Here we are at 6:58. The dew sweepers are out here. Literally. Watch the ball on the green and you see like a little streak of it. I'm looking for a show of hands. Not one human is with us. Not a soul. But we'll be there.
Quail Hollow. You never been.
Never been.
Shout out Novak. Came back and won.
Got the dub. Little team victory.
Griffin.
I saw that. You get
Tar Heel.
That's correct. You get
big sunglasses.
Fun.
Did you golf with sunglasses?
Never.
Right?
Never.
Find it interesting.
I can't do that. But I wear these so I can,
Duval brought him on. Is he coming?
Yeah.
I got to talk to him.
Get you on the blow.
Watching, was it Ryder Cup? Was it a President's Cup? Tiger bailed him out. He chipped in. Remember that?
Oh, that was a World Cup.
Yeah.
That was a World Cup.
Watch that interview.
There was a time there where there was
no doubt.
David.
Who was that captain? That's what I want. No way it was Curtis, right?
On what team?
That team.
The World Cup?
Yeah, Tiger and Duval were a team.
Right, well but that's just two dudes. They don't have a captain.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
David's back didn't betray him. There was an era. There was a time there it could have been a fun little head-to-head. It's all right. He got his name on the jug right after Tiger did.
Yeah.
Got to the top of the mountain.
College football fan.
He is that.
Anything else?
I mean, I don't know. We've been talking for hours.
I know.
I'm not mad about it. There's a lot of stuff.
It's like to wrap it up.
We still haven't covered everything. There's still a lot of things, I'm sure. But big week of Sports Center every night.
Not Thursday.
Oh, we're off Thursday?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Hell yeah.
Dinner?
In the mix. Strip mall Italian. Let's do it. Anything else? Movies are back.
Bobland is unbelievable. Tom Hardy, Pierce Brosnan.
Okay.
Unbelievable show. John Hamm show, Friends and Neighbors on Apple. Not bad. Last episode of Celtic City coming. What are you watching?
The games.
Yeah.
That's it. Another what?
TV.
TV. Number of televisions isn't the problem. Number of hours in the day is the problem.
Flag.
All right. We're good. Got some sun. Feeling good.
How's the squad?
Took a couple. Oh, and actually get one on the last play of the game. Yeah, we're good.
NIL's good?
Yep.
Collective. We got enough money in there?
We're going to, yeah. I got to get a cortisone shot in my wrist this week.
Oh, when are you going? I might get one too.
Wednesday.
How's the swing?
I don't know. I can't swing a club unless I get a shot.
Boys are out playing.
That's fun.
Got a sleeper.
I heard.
Over in Virginia has been working on his game.
That's what the word on the street. The early first rankings are coming out. I think he's going to be giving me a couple at Dingle.
Those boys ran up a tab at the old Duke's Grocery.
Yeah, I saw pictures late Friday night.
Saturday.
Whatever. We need to get some Ubers involved.
That's what I took.
Oh, you were there?
Yeah.
Thanks for the invite.
2 beers. You did not want any part of that.
Nah, a bunch of herd of oxen. All right, this is we've reached the part where we're literally could just pick up the phone and call the people that have any fucking clue what we're talking about. So with that in mind, we'll say, you guys have a great week, and we will talk to you next week.